Hey, what's up? It's Doug Cunnington from Niche Site Project. Welcome to the Thursday. Today's Thursday, right? The Thursday Q&A. And I bet in a second I'm going to hear my voice talking on the other thing here. But today we're just going to do general Q&A. If no one has questions, that's cool because I've been logging other questions over here at this other screen that I'm pointing at that you actually can't see at all. One thing I'll mention is it's funny. It's like bright. It's daylight. I have a big ass window right here, and the thing is, there's not a ton of light shining in, which is fine because it would make it hot. But I have like a lamp right here that's pretty bright to give me, some lighting. But it looks like it's like nighttime because there's a shadow back here. So I don't know, it's not a huge deal. It just looks funny. It looks like it's always nighttime here, even though it's kind of hot and warm. So I see I got 3 people on at least right now. So thanks for, joining. First of all, really appreciate it. If you want to say hello in the chat, that's really cool. And David, what's up? Welcome. If I remember right, you haven't been around for a couple days this week, David, which is cool. There's always stuff to do. Additionally, my schedule kind of got screwed up. I've been doing like a whole bunch of one-on-one calls with people in the course. So, that kind of goofs up my day, and I didn't block out this time. But it's cool. It should go back to normal tomorrow. Nick, what's up? Thanks for joining in. So today, one thing I'm going to do actually that I have not, and Sergi is on too. Oh, you've been working day and night, David. That sounds tough. So one thing I'm going to do while we're ramping up, and I'll ask people to go ahead and type in your questions if you have any. It could be internet marketing related or not. Yeah, we did miss you, David. You are always around. So when you weren't here, I was like, oh man, what's going on with that? He's mad. All right, I'm going to share this page with the Facebook group. So I need to start doing that to get more folks over here. Let me take a quick peek. How do we do this? Niche framework. Hey, come on over. Live on YouTube. Okay, so next time I should have that sort of queued up and ready to go, and maybe even do it ahead of time. So everything's a work in progress. All right. And Javier is on. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for saying that about the content. So I don't see too many questions rolling in. Oh, okay, Nick has one here. So Nick's question is around niche sites specifically, and the question is this: when you are reviewing a product, should you make the H2 or H3 header a clickable link to Amazon, or more strategic about the link with a call to action? Good question. I don't do affiliate links in the headers for like the H2 and H3 tags. I always do it in like a call to action with text. And the reason why is some themes actually, it's not 100% clear like if the header is actually a link or not. So I like to put it in text so there's no question. They know what links look like on that site. It's really theme dependent, but just to be safe, I just always put it as a call to action and not the product name of the product. And then that being an H2 or H3 or H4 or whatever tag. So yeah, call to action, and I find that works well for my sites. And I've tried it before. I've never done like strict testing on it, but I've tried it and I don't like it. So good question though. That's a good one there. So next question is from Sergi. What's happening if the main product that you're reviewing is gone from listing on the vendor's website. Now, do you mean like on Amazon, Sergi? I think you do. So I'll just I'll assume that, and if it's gone, then either the product's discontinued or they ran out of inventory. And at that point, if it's like one of your main items, you may want to find another one that is like available. But worst case scenario, you leave it, and then people go to Amazon, they see it's not there, and obviously Amazon converts pretty well. They sell things pretty well. So there will often be recommended items, or like they can navigate around and your cookie's still like in place for that. If it's some other vendor's website, I have no idea. I suspect it's probably the same deal, right? So if they run out of stuff, if they run out of the product, or if they discontinue it, then it's gone and you should like replace it. That's an ongoing battle, by the way. Like if you have a big website, there's always going to be products like that are out of stock or changing, and you can audit your site once a quarter or something, and just go through, make sure each page gets touched once a quarter and all the products are checked. And it's not the worst thing in the world if the product is not there anymore. Again, Amazon usually can pick that up. Okay, and then David asks, oh, this is a good question. So David asks, was the shorter 5-figure niche site launch, or how was the 5-figure niche site launch? Did the new strategy work out better than before? Okay, so if you're not familiar, I used to do like roughly a 14 or 15 day launch, and it's kind of modeled after Video Fruit and Brian Harris's product launches, and it worked really well. The first time that I tried it in October of last year, my sales went up by, I don't have the spreadsheet open right in front of me, but I'll just say it went up by 20 to 40% or something. Like it was a lot, right? So this sales material helped a lot. The thing is, you send out about 15 emails in about 14 days or something. It's a bit much. There's a lot of like scarcity built into bonuses and other things. What I started to realize was, one, I didn't make any sales over the weekends. And I'll probably do like, this is interesting stuff from a sales perspective, and it'll be good for me to actually just like write a blog post or talk about this at length and like organize my thoughts to critique it, and probably interesting for other people too. So over the weekends, like we'll just say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in the middle of the launch, there was a 9-day buying period. So I went from a 9-day buying period to a 5-day buying period. And in the middle of the launch, basically no one bought anything. It would be like 1 or 2 sales. So that told me that I was just sending emails and creating, scarcity around bonuses that really didn't generate any more sales. And it wasn't false scarcity. It was real bonuses that I offered for a limited amount of time, and no one actually really cared about it. And most of the sales were like right in the front third, and then at the last day or so. So through observing better marketers than myself, I saw that a lot of people were doing 5-day launches Monday through Friday. They kept it like pretty straightforward. They sent 6 emails max that week, maybe 3 the preceding week. And I took that same model. So I cut out 4 days of sales from 9 to 5. I launched on Monday, closed it on a Friday. The sales were good. So I don't have the stats, and I probably wouldn't say like how many I sold or anything, but basically I sold a few less like seats, right? So there were a handful fewer students, maybe like 10% less, but because I reworked the entire offering from the advanced package to the premium package. I reworked the offering, so there's a ton more value in those packages. More people bought more expensive packages. In addition, I shortened the launch period and there were no ill effects. Now, the problem is, like, doing this one time, I get some data from it, but not enough, because in the summer, like, website traffic for internet marketing sites is generally lower. Additionally, my email list size, roughly, I think it only grew by, let me do the percentage, it grew by about 5%, is that right? So not much. It's about the same size as it was. So everything considered, it went well. I'm happy with it. And basically I send less emails, which is good, because I know that's irritating to get a ton of emails on like a sales thing. So I'm sending fewer emails. I get, like, fewer people unsubscribed, and I sold roughly the same amount. And shorter just means, like, less work for me. So overall, it's really good, and I'm probably going to stick with it at least for, like, the next, like, 3 launches. And I may tweak some things, but I really like where it's at right now. 5 days. There's, like, some pre-launch material that goes out that really connects with people. And I need to focus more on building my email list, because even though I know, like, all the things I'm supposed to do, I very rarely see, like, huge growth. And maybe that's a false, like, impression that you can do a bunch of stuff and have, like, fierce growth. That's what people selling you products on email list building want you to believe. And maybe it's really, like, slow, methodical growth with people that actually, like, care about the material. I mean, each of these sessions, right? I mean, each of these things we're doing, more people are finding the site. So anyway, it went well. Thank you for asking. Okay. And I see a follow-up. Do I do any upsells or after people make an order? No, I don't. So that's one area where I could potentially, like, add some stuff on. And for people that aren't familiar, after someone makes a purchase, I could say, hey, for an extra $150, I'll put you in a mastermind group and facilitate the meetings for 4 sessions to get you started, stuff like that. And that could be, hugely valuable. And I know for a fact mastermind groups are, like, super important. I was looking back at some of the other, like, mastermind partners that I've had and people that I'm in groups now, and they're doing, like, super, super well. So there's definitely something to it. Matthias, what's up? I'm doing well. Thanks for joining. Yazid, thanks. And I see Javier ask, which social network do you think works best to promote a brand new niche site, and how many posts would be ideal to start with? Any other tips on starting a brand new site? Javier, I would say, I don't know for the social network, because I don't really do much social networking for my niche sites. If I had to tell you 2 to take a look at and figure out which one is best for your niche, I would say Facebook and Pinterest. So depending on the niche, one may be a better option if you look at, like, what groups or communities are active. Again, I have no firsthand experience with it, so I'm just guessing. The next question is how many posts is ideal to start with? 10. 10 posts. And then start link building and promotion immediately after that. A lot of other people will give, like, the opposite advice and say, hey, you need to have, like, 150 posts, or you need to focus on the authority site model, and say, you need to focus on having hundreds of posts. That's terrible advice, because most people give up before they start getting any traffic or making any money. So you really should focus on, like, 10 posts. Make sure they're, about half informational, half product review type content, and then go out there and start trying to get traffic through blog commenting and guest posting. And actually that takes care of your second or your third question there, any tips on getting started with a brand new site? Don't be in a hurry. That's actually, don't be in a hurry, because if you're in a hurry, you'll take shortcuts that'll eventually either not work for you or they'll get you penalized. So as long as you have like patience, you should be good to go. Let's see. And then Matthias says, oh, hold on. I missed a couple. Okay, and then Nick says, you never see me promote the email list either. Interesting. Yeah, you know, I used to be a little more aggressive with like pop-ups and stuff on my blog, but from like a user experience standpoint, I was like, it's not as great. Maybe I'll scale it back. After I like seeing I need to look at the numbers, but there was like when I took off those pop-ups, there was fewer people sign up, and it may be, a small-ish percentage overall, but like it makes a difference. So I may add those back in, at least for certain pages. And perhaps you're right. Like I put little teasers in some of these YouTube videos, but I rarely say, hey, go sign up for my email list. In my head, I'm assuming people that are actually on these live streams are on the email list. But Nick, I'm working more on YouTube and making like shorter videos and stuff. So hopefully, one of the things we could do at the beginning of the videos is like, hey, Doug has an awesome email list and gives out a ton of free stuff. You should go sign up for it, that kind of thing. By the way, if anyone's not on the email list, just go to nichesiteproject.com and click like the green button. You'll get a ton of free stuff and many emails that really there's just like a lot of free stuff. So, okay. The next thing David says, good to hear about the launch. Thank you, and thanks for asking. And yeah, the product launch stuff, like when I first launched my very first ebook in 2013, like I didn't know any sort of marketing, and I thought, hey, these people understand like what they're getting, and I just put together a pretty like short sales page, the best I could do, and I sold some stuff, right? It wasn't crazy. It was enough for me to keep going. But now that I understand more of like the psychology behind it and just more marketing, I guess, strategies in general, not like in a taking advantage of people way, but just like giving people the information they need to make a decision. Like I didn't realize how important that was. So, and Nick says, Javier should go for Facebook 100%. And then, or if it's sports, maybe go after Twitter. So yeah, that's a good point. And the Active Indian from Dubai, welcome. Matthias says, I just started my first niche site and you decided to clump together some keywords in your first post. Is that a good idea? They serve the same search, but in search intent, but the difference is amateurs, average, and pros. Sure, I think that's fine. I think there's a lot of flexibility in how people structure their content. So I typically favor like the keyword golden ratio type of content where it's quite narrow, few searches. There's a whole other school of thought, and I have content like this on my site where you do have like a super long piece of content, 10,000, 12,000 words, and it covers like a huge like breadth of material all around the same topic, and each serve different purposes, each take different amounts of work, and I think a blend is the best thing. And if you're just starting, the one caveat that I'll add is if you're just starting your site, something like that, depending on the competition, may take longer to rank. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it though. And then, yeah, so Matthias, overall, it's totally up to you, and I would, recommend maybe you leave the one that you have already published, and then maybe for another set of keywords, you try the opposite and publish them individually. Of course, you never actually know. It's not a true experiment or anything. It's just you're you're executing something and making observations. So if you do it one time, it may react, Google may react a certain way. If you do it a different way, if you do it the same way again, something different may happen because the niche may be a little bit different. And the Active Indian says, nice t-shirt, by the way. Yeah, it's this Great American Beer Festival from 2008. I was a volunteer back then. And it was just when I was getting started, or brew career, see? It was when I was getting started with home brewing and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. You get to, stand behind the table and pour beers for everyone. And you get to drink a little yourself. Or a lot. We actually drank a lot. It's just a blur of a whole weekend. So Eben asks, I've got keywords in positions like 40 to 50. It's pretty new content. How long would it take to get to the first page? I don't know. If it's like fairly competitive, we'll just call it like medium competition. It could take like 6 months to a year to 18 months or so. If it's like lower competition, like keyword golden ratio kind of stuff, maybe it'll just take about a few weeks. And it could take, a few months. Once it gets on the first page, it may take a few months for it to get to #1 if it's worthy. But all depends on the competition level, the on-page SEO as well. So the length, keyword density, the subheadings like that Nick was asking about, like the H2 and H3 tags, images, YouTube videos, all that stuff matters. And not only does it matter on your site, it matters what's happening on your competitors' sites. So I would suggest you go analyze the niche sites which are in the top 10 for their on-page and off-page analysis. I think if you go to if you're watching, you're on the YouTube channel, if you search, I think I have a couple webinars and/or live trainings that actually go through some of the on-page stuff that you need to be concerned about, and potentially some of the off-page. There's a lot. I actually don't remember. Hope that helps, Evan. It's a tough question there. So many variables. What's the ideal conversion on an Amazon affiliate site? You have a 2-month-old site with a 4 to 5 conversion rate. Is that good or bad or ugly? There's no like ideal conversion rate. So one site that I can reference, actually I'll tell you 2 examples. One is a site that I have right now. It usually averages about like 12 to 12.5% conversion rate as like registered on or as reported by the Amazon Associates reporting tools. So 12.5, right? That's high. That's really good. The reason why is, my content is so directly focused on like keyword golden ratio stuff that if someone lands on the page, they're probably pretty interested in making a purchase. So it's very high. A site that I sold recently, the one in Project Go White Hat that had like, was averaging after, I guess the selling price, this was based on an 83 or 8,600 per month revenue, basically. So the conversion rate on that site was more like 4% or 4.5%, but it made more money because it was getting more traffic and it was ranking for more general keyword terms, and just overall it was making more money. So there's no ideal conversion rate, but it depends on how much traffic you get to the site and how direct, I guess how directly related to like buyers keywords it is. Okay, so hopefully I answered. 4 to 5% is fine. Active Indian, I think you shouldn't be concerned about that though. All right. And David, you need to just come up with my my topics for the day, because each of these are really good. So David says, what would you say are my top 3 takeaways from running the guest posting service from back in the day? I'm actually gonna log that question right now, and I will say we'll get like the last couple questions in, and then we'll have to call it so I can go to. I think I may hike today instead of going to the gym. Why don't we have a little vote? Would you rather me hike or go to the gym? And if I hike, I may be able to do a live stream from once I get like to the destination. I think I get LTE up there, and as long as I'll probably have to hide. I don't want to annoy people doing a live stream out in nature. So I'll probably like go to a little further like out of the way spot. But anyway, okay. Good question, David. I logged that one. So number 1, I really don't like doing a service business. That's one thing I learned. That's why I don't do it anymore. 2, like you really learn a lot through iteration, and like no matter what it is. So I've launched the course a few times and I've iterated, and it's improved every single time 6 times in a row. And whenever I was doing the guest posting, I sent out emails over and over and over, and I got probably hundreds, at least over 100 guest posts like over the period of time. And you know, when you look at the number of guest posts that I've got since I did that service and Project Go White Hat, it's well into like over 100, probably in the 200 range, and that's a lot. So I learned as I sent out more and just like honed the process. And 3rd, I guess around guest posting again, like as I looked at how I was doing it back then versus how I do it now, I see, it's really good to sort of be on I hope I'm on the leading edge of like where the guest posting trends are going, because there's so much garbage going out as far as guest posting pitches right now, that I hope that I'm already shifting, because I was doing it for a little while and I'm doing smarter stuff that the competition isn't doing. So hopefully I'll still be able to get guest posts, and my students will be able to get guest posts. And people that are just copying stuff that I was doing 2 years ago, well, that's not really going to work that well anymore. Feed asks, do I use any productivity system like GTD, which is getting things done? Mine is, no, I don't use a strict system. I've been, like at best, I've been doing some time blocking, and I don't strictly do that either. So I'll do some time blocking as described in Deep Work by Cal Newport, which really you just like, you could do it on like Google Calendars, but I just do it in a notebook because that's what he talked about. And you just like map out your hours for the day, and then you put in the blocks of time that you're going to work on stuff, and you build in some Slack. And that actually works really well. And the more, I love apps and I love like tools and stuff, but when it comes down to it, like a piece of paper is really like the best thing for me to work on. It keeps me from getting too distracted. So what about you, Fee? Do you use any system, GTD or otherwise? Tihana, what's up? Good to see you on, and hope you're doing well. And Yazi says, do the hike and a joint at the top. Actually, I don't smoke, or I drink beer, so, but I don't want to, that's not what I want to hydrate with up there. But thanks for the suggestion though. And Evan says, go for the hike. And Tiana says, you look like you've been spending time outside, tanned, relaxed, and glowing. I think it's just the light, the light here, or maybe I'm just warm, but thank you for saying that. It's very kind. Hike, okay. Then David says, do the hike. There's an article from the Wall Street Journal showing that people that walk or run outside are happier than running or walking on a treadmill. I've seen similar things, similar articles on such topics, and I think there's definitely something to it. So, okay, cool. I'll go out and hike, and what I'll do, I'll charge up my phone. I need to make sure it has juice, but if I have LTE, I'll actually do a little live stream up there, and I'll have to figure out something to talk about. I mean, it actually just looks cool up there. There'll be a mountain range. It's not nearly as hazy today as it was yesterday, but I'll be on the mountain, and then we'll be able to see like probably 5 mountain ranges in the background. So cool. Thank you for the input. And Nick, that's awesome that you're taking notes on the questions right now. Very good. And thanks everyone for attending today. And I think tomorrow I'll come up with like an actual topic that I could talk about. And maybe, just maybe, if you're still around in like an hour and a half or so, you'll catch the live stream of me at the destination of my hike. So, all right, cool. See you, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow.